Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is now just 91 days away from its official release by writer and director J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio, as well as Disney and Lucasfilm and creator George Lucas. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, I think it's pretty safe to say that by far, the driving force for the hype of Episode 9 has all to do with Palpatine coming back in full force here by Ian McDiarmid, and how he's going to be a central piece of the story that's really going to be used as a way to evolve the characters of Rey and Kylo Ren from start to finish in Episode 9. And that, to me, I think is by far one of the most exciting pieces about this movie, is the fact that Sidious is back in the flesh in some way, shape, or form. Now, on top of all of this, these past couple of weeks, so we've been learning a whole lot more about this movie, and when it all comes down to one of the concept art descriptions, this is where things begin to get very intense between Rey, Kylo Ren, and Palpatine. Now, specifically, what's really intriguing about all of this is that shot descriptions consisting of a sequence where it's explained that both Rey and Kylo Ren are facing Palpatine, where he is said to be using a single-bladed lightsaber against Rey and Kylo Ren. One of the scenes is said to involve a moment in which Palpatine is taunting Rey about her parents, and that Rey begins to tap into her anger, where she is able to use Force lightning against Lord Sidious. However, before doing so, she is actually said to force grab Palpatine's lightsaber from his hand, where she then initiates the lightning against Palpatine. This is where Palpatine is said to be able to block the lightning with his own hands, where he eventually is able to overpower the Force duel against Rey, where Rey gets knocked down on the ground, where Palpatine takes his saber back. This is where it's explained that Rey eventually uses Kylo Ren's crossguard saber against Sidious and battles him inside of this strange throne room, where it's said to be the first film to introduce the red lightsabers clashing together in a live-action movie. As this happens, it's actually explained that Palpatine is talking to Rey about family, about the Skywalkers, and how his bloodline can rule the new Sith Empire to take over the galaxy once more. Now, this is where Kylo is said to step in with Anakin's saber and faces Palpatine, where it's a 2-on-1 saber duel. So let's go over a couple of parts about this. Now, what's really exciting about Episode 9 is that we do know that there is, of course, going to be a 2-on-1 lightsaber duel in The Rise of Skywalker that is really going to mimic of what we got in, of course, the prequel trilogy, such as Episode 1, 2, 3, you name it. And what I love so much about the 2-on-1 saber duels is because, well, you get extra the amount of action, and not only that, it's a little bit more interesting to look at, where you have an alliance between two Force users going up against one powerful Darksider, or whatever have you, right? So in this scenario, we have a moment in which Rey is able to use Force lightning against Palpatine himself, while Kylo Ren is in the background. Now, the thing about this is that this definitely does imply that she is indeed connected to the Palpatine bloodline, which then hence brings us to that piece of dialogue where Palpatine is telling Rey about the Skywalkers and their bloodline, and how his bloodline can rule the new Sith Empire, most likely referring to Rey trying to lure in his granddaughter to actually become a Sith Lord by his side. Now, what I like about this, though, is that we do know that Episode 9 is going to introduce, by far, one of the darkest scenes in the third act of this movie that's going to actually rival the scene in Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, where you have, of course, Anakin going up against Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now, this particular lightsaber duel is said to be by far the darkest duel out of the entire Skywalker saga. Now, that to me, I think, is one thing to truly look forward to seeing, is, of course, exactly how it's all going to be done on the big screen and how fans are really going to react to all of this. Now, the other piece that I do want to go over is that eventually it's said that Rey uses Kylo Ren's crossguard saber against Palpatine's single-bladed lightsaber. Now, this is said to be the very first film to introduce two red lightsabers clashing against each other in an actual live-action Star Wars movie. And I think that's one thing to really look forward to, is because, well, we never really got to see that type of visual in a Star Wars film to date. Now, this is all said to take place inside of a strange throne room. And when I think about a strange throne room, the only thing that comes to mind is Ralph McQuarrie's concept art for Return of the Jedi. You guys may recall that originally, Ralph McQuarrie actually set out for Palpatine's throne room to be based underneath an actual world inside of a cave, where a lot of lava was surrounding the actual throne itself as Luke was being brought in by Darth Vader. So it could very well be similar in a sense, where this throne is actually said to be based underneath a world that is actually going to be consisting of a cave and both Rey and Kylo Ren fighting Palpatine to the death. Now, the last thing I want to go over here is that yes, we do know that Rey is going to have a handful of new powers in this movie. There are a lot of hints and/or indicators out there that we have been going over that actually do connect her to the Palpatine bloodline without a doubt, of her being the granddaughter of Darth Sidious himself, which honestly I think is going to really change the game when it comes to Rey and why she's so powerful. So on top of all of this, I will say that that is a step in the right direction by Disney. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.